What's up, everybody? I'm back. That's right, a video that is not going to take like a month to come out. I'm back here and not alone. Who's this right next to me? Do I have a co-host today? Yes, I do. This is my buddy Steve. He's a fellow movie junkie, just like myself.
Indeed.
And because of that, we are attending the Calgary International Film Festival this week. And we've watched a couple movies so far, and we're going to discuss it with you guys. We still have a few movies more to see for the festival, but we figured we would break it apart so we can actually, the movies are actually fresh in our minds when we do the review, because I don't want to watch like 5 films and try to remember the first one that I've seen. That's going to be a nightmare. Yeah. So, yeah, let's get to it. Alright guys, so since these movies are very recent, most of you probably haven't seen these. These are going to be spoiler-free reviews because we like you guys.
It's for you.
It's for you. It's not for us. It's for you.
We saw them.
Alright, so for the first movie that we saw at the Calgary International Film Festival was actually a Korean one because, you know me, I like my Korean cinema, and Steve wants to get more into it.
I'm open-minded.
Exactly, and he's down for the hardcore, gruesome fucking violence and sometimes dark, bleak endings.
I'm desensitized.
So the first movie was called A Day, or Haru. Give us a synopsis of the movie.
All right, so it's a great kind of pitch film where you can come up with an idea, you tell someone in 30 seconds you can describe the movie, which is a fun way to kind of tell your friends about movies. So a doctor, famous Korean doctor, gets off a plane, and on his way home he witnesses his daughter die in a car accident. And all of a sudden, cut, he wakes up, he's back on the plane, and he's about to relive that day again.
So basically a classic time loop genre film, right? And a very good one. I gotta say, a very good one. It was beautifully shot. It's very aesthetically pleasing, I gotta say. The cinematography is good.
Yep.
The plot, although is a time loop movie, like you've seen these, Groundhog Day, Edge of Tomorrow, which is very good.
Yep.
Source Code, which is, yeah. We've seen these movies. They're a dime a dozen, right? We know what happens. We know the character gets stuck, regardless if it's a whole day or 5 minutes. But I gotta say, for a movie that's been done before, it felt refreshing. And for a time loop movie, it wasn't as repetitive as you'd think.
No, I didn't. I kept it fresh. There's some new things in there. Don't want to get into spoilers, but they tell you about one thing. I'd advise not to watch the trailer.
Yes, do not watch it.
But if you already did, if you do, they'll tell you one thing. There's more stuff in there that is a surprise, so you really don't know how it's going to end.
Yes, and the main thing that kept the entire plot very fresh is the fact that they introduced a second looper. That's right, a second person that is stuck in that time loop. Now, I know this sounds like a spoiler, but this is actually in the trailer. This is not why I don't want you to watch the trailer, though. You gotta know this to really keep yourself interested in a movie in a genre that's been done over and over and over. So it's not a spoiler. There's a second looper in the story, and how he comes in, it's very interesting. It's what like draws you into the movie, and it doesn't stop there. The third act is a very strong act where you have no idea what's going on.
Yep.
Check it out when it's out, basically.
Yep.
Right? What were your favorite parts of the movie?
Well, it definitely felt pretty interesting, pretty different. I haven't seen a lot of Korean movies, and I had heard they always have crazy endings. They're not afraid to kill off
Important
everybody,
people, yes.
Or have this woman had sex with the daughter, or just all kinds of crazy.
Shout out to Old Boy. This is not in a day, by the way.
Yeah.
This is from another different, twisted yet amazing Korean film.
Yeah. But one scene that stuck with me, but I'd never seen anything like it really in a Hollywood film, was when the girl, the daughter of this doctor, gets hit by this car. At one point, she flies like 12 feet in the air. Like
they show the body, the girl just like flying,
follows her up in the air, and you're like, oh my god. Are we gonna watch this happen as she descends? And
we do.
Yeah.
And we get to watch it.
That stuck with me. I'll remember that scene from this movie. All right. So what were your pros for the movie?
Okay, I think that we've been naming quite a few, but the one that I really like is the fact that as a time loop genre, in these kind of movies, usually when the character wakes up on his first go of the loop, or the second time he's going through everything, he always kind of takes a while to get used to it. Usually the character just dies right away, and only at the third one he realizes, oh yeah, this is gonna happen again. In this movie, the doctor, he just jumps into action as soon, I think even on the first time, he already realizes that this is off, you can't explain it, so he already jumps into action to try to stop the death of his daughter, which again speeds up the movie, makes the movie that you're already gonna see the same scenes again and again, less repetitive. So very good point.
Yep.
Now for the cons, because doesn't matter how good a movie is, there are always cons, right? Do you have any cons? What are the things that kind of irk you, the things that you would change?
You know, like they do try to establish a bit of his relationship with his daughter, and I thought it was okay. I don't know a lot of Korean culture, how kids behave and stuff. I mean, I know they got a lot of tech, they're on their cell phones and stuff, but it never felt like they were a very loving relationship.
No, it did not.
And like, so he loves her, but
yeah, you could tell that it's like he keeps, I guess, I believe that he keeps missing her birthday in the story, and that's why she's so upset. And it is her birthday that day.
She just feels really bratty.
she does feel very
it'd be
spoiled.
nice to maybe sympathize a little bit more. I know this is a girl getting hit by a car, but I mean, she's kind of a little rude,
a little bitch. She comes across like a little bit of a bitch.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. She could be nicer. Now for cons. For me, because the time loop movie, again, I feel like I'm saying time loop so many times, I'm looping again. Or maybe you are looping.
Is this a time loop
Is this a time loop video? Maybe. Okay, so for a time loop movie, it doesn't have a lot of replay value, right? Because, and I find it, unless you're watching Edge of Tomorrow, because there's a lot of action to kind of like add to the fact that you're watching this movie again. But if there's not a lot of that non-stop action in time loop movies, there's not a lot of reason to watch it again, because you've seen everything, you understand the story, there's not a lot of, rewatches. And I like a good movie. My favorite films are the ones that have a really good replay value. I think that's very important for films. There's cinematography, there's dialogue, there's writing, there's a lot of stuff, but if you can't watch the movie more than once, is it really a good movie? Do you ever walk out of the movie theater going like, yeah, I'll never need to watch it again, but that was fantastic? It doesn't really happen, right? So I guess the replay value is not that big, so I guess that's a con. And another con, which actually has more to do with the writing of the film, which is actually a bad point for the film itself, is that the characters have a trait that really irks me, that it's at some parts in the movie, they withhold information about the time loop to add suspense to the film, right? So you have two characters where a simple dialogue can resolve this conflict, but one character won't reveal the information that he has to the other one, so the movie can have a little bit more suspense. And that, it irks me because it feels so unrealistic when just a simple conversation, very short, just blah blah blah, and then that conflict would resolve, but you don't do it. As a matter of fact, the character says worse things that could lead to a worse outcome in the process. So that it feels like a little bit of lazy writing, just because they want to build up the suspense in a scene where technically you don't need suspense there.
Yeah, you're setting up like a false conflict between characters that were getting along before.
Exactly. Exactly. It feels false. It feels fake. It doesn't feel like realistic, right? So I think that was one of the cons for the film.
Didn't quite earn it, the cons.
Exactly. But overall, I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 5. What about you?
I'm not big on ratings, but
okay.
Yeah, 4 out of 5. I mean, it's good. It's not great, but it's good. And if you like movies with interesting plots like this, you don't know a lot of foreign films, this is not a bad one. It's not a waste of time by any means.
Yeah,
it's definitely worth checking out.
I recommend it. Basically, it gets our stamp.
Yeah.
All right, so for the second film, we actually watched a documentary called Human Flow, directed by Ai Weiwei.
Human Flow, and it's not about menstruation.
No. I don't think anybody wants a documentary about that.
No.
So
what it is about is the global refugee crisis. That
yes.
is current, ongoing, a little bit of the history.
So a very relevant, thought-provoking topic. I mean, it's going on right now as we speak, which is the reason why we want to watch the documentary.
Yeah.
Beyond that is a documentary that it treats globally the situation of refugees. So it's not just the Syria and Iraq crisis. It touches on Myanmar, and it touches a little bit on Mexico as well, and in Africa as well. The cinematography of the movie is amazing.
Yeah, definitely its strong point is some of the shots.
The aerial shots, that there's a lot of drone shots. Some shots, it starts from the clouds, it comes right into the city and explores the devastation of the war. It's beautifully shot. It's also a very quiet movie.
Yeah, it's eerie. That part of it, I kind of liked it, but there's other times where it was just too quiet. Something needs to break the tension here or drive things forward. It was just the quietest movie I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I found that in some points they would benefit from a score.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they would a lot, and they didn't. So it turned out to be a very quiet, a long movie as well. It's 2.5 hours long. So
Yeah.
it's a very long documentary.
Yeah.
And beyond being beautifully shot and the fact that it touches on a subject that is very relevant, I have to say I wasn't very pleased on how they executed the storytelling of the documentary.
Well, yeah, it's very meandering. It didn't kind of build up to a narrative that kind of had a payoff. It was just a bit here, a little bit in the next place, and the next place, and the next.
It was basically like they gave us a lot of information, but it always was told in it wasn't, the film is not narrated, by the way. A lot of documentaries are, but this film is not narrated. All information, all data that they can provide us about the situation is just done so with captions on the screen, and sometimes, more often than not, actually, just you see like the lower thirds of newscasts, like kind of with the taglines going by, showing the information.
It was almost like showing a tweet, CNN, and it was just a headline that would go across.
Exactly, like a headline going across, showing, just giving information of, these many thousands are in this country now, these many thousands have been displaced from this other country now. So they give us a lot of information, but I find that a documentary, the reason why it affects you so well is because it pairs real life information with emotional connection, right? We care about the characters in a documentary. We're not just there just for we're not just there just for the information. I mean, we could get the information anywhere, right? We can get the information in the news or any other source of information where you might draw if you don't like, the main news outlets.
Yeah.
But you watch the documentary because of that emotional connection that you want to feel with the people in that story. And I thought the movie lacked a story. Like Steve said, it was just it showed a little bit here, a little bit there, and then go back a little bit here, a little bit there. But there's not a lot of the people affected by the situation telling their stories, talking about their journeys, making us feel like that could be us. That's the emotional connection that I was talking about, that we look for. Upon hearing the stories of these people going through this incredible journey, you connect. There's no way you can't help to feel for those people. Like there's one guy who had a family of 17 people, and when he managed to get to Europe, they only had 12, and they all died in the process of leaving Syria into Europe. So they weren't claimed by the war. It was just that trajectory claimed the lives of his family members, and it was tough to see, a man reduced to, just livestock, which is how the majority of them felt. But those moments are just peppered in there. Like the majority is just, again, beautiful, silent shots of what is going on with, oddly enough, the director being very present.
Yeah, like he's in there the first few times you see him, not sure who he is almost. You're got like a tracking shot in camera, and then all of a sudden there's a guy with his cell phone out, like filming, and okay, I guess
that's the director, and then you just clue in.
And then so it's a mixture of footage that he has got on his phone, which for cell phone footage looked great.
Yeah.
That
was not a con at all. The footage itself, it was not.
It wasn't like a technique that added to it or anything. I think it's great that obviously he was there, but I assume most documentary directors are there. They're present during any of the filming of this stuff. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in the parts of interviews, you almost need to have the other person, right? It adds the fact that, to me, when you add the director asking a few questions, right, and the camera acknowledges the director behind the camera, right, it acknowledges the fact that they're talking to people. It's a conversation between people. It's not this, like us talking to the camera, to you guys. There's somebody behind the camera, and there's an ongoing conversation. It feels more personal. But those weren't the shots I'm talking about. Some shots, the camera, the better camera, just takes a shot of the director shooting something else with his phone.
And we didn't see.
And we didn't see what he shot. It was just the shot of him shooting stuff with his phone, or the shot of him taking a selfie with like the hashtag "We Stand with the Refugees" with the little pamphlet. Those shots add nothing.
I would say we're not trying to trash this movie.
No, but we have to be honest. We have to be honest.
It was a film festival, and you know, with things like Vox and Vice, there's a lot more short form kind of documentaries that can really get to the point. This felt like a lot of almost B-roll, and then the parts that needed to educate you or could really emotionally connect with you were pretty spread out. So it just felt like a waste of using a feature-length documentary, and not to mention like the longest documentary I think I've ever seen.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
And it didn't have much of a payoff, I guess, for the length.
So, again, not that we want to trash the film. Like I said, that's why it's very difficult, because the topic itself, I want to relate and know more about and be connected, invested emotionally and financially as well, to help out wherever I can. But it felt like, the best way I can explain it is like Steve said, it felt like a lot of B-roll footage, and the information that we needed was kind of glossed over or just added in post as an afterthought. And the emotion that they wanted to instill in us was missed, because the movie lacked a lot of the stories from the refugees. There are a few, I'm telling you, there are a few, but for a documentary that is 2.5 hours long, I would imagine that I would get more out of these, personal accounts. I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 5, because again, as a documentary, it was and as the emotional feel, it was, again, where is it?
Yeah, it's a 50-50 thing. You might come away and have enjoyed it, or you might have thought it was kind of a waste of your time. The whole issue is not, we'll try and really clearly state that, but a bit of just a wasted opportunity if you're gonna get, this was a packed theater, and you want to educate people, maybe call to action. This isn't the movie I would show to like the Real Housewives of Orange County to like open up their wallets.
Open up like anybody's mind or anything like that. What is your grade?
I'm gonna give it a letter grade, like a C-.
A C-. Okay.
It was
like, there's potential, but it's
submitted on time, but just
missed the mark.
I could have gone for another couple drafts. Like there was something here, but it could have been really tightened up. If you're really inclined to see this kind of thing, definitely check it out. But it's a long one. Have some coffee. Don't go in tired.
Yes.
Don't go in expecting a sweeping epic of a story,
because you won't get it. All right, so that's it for our first 2 films at the Calgary International Film Festival this year. We got a few more to see for the next videos.
Yep. And go to calgaryfilm.com to see all the movies that are playing there. It is wrapping up on October the 1st, but this happens every year. Every year I've gone, I've always wanted to come back for more. So you can go there and check out trailers, descriptions. It's pretty cool because some of these movies, they don't even have trailers.
They don't have trailers out, so you're really going in with sometimes with knowing nothing, which is the best way to watch a movie.
Yep. And all year round they have announcements. You can get early bird ticket pricing. You can get ticket packs. We split a 10-ticket pack this year, and that was kind of a cool way to force yourself to choose a bunch of different stuff.
And be picky.
Awesome. Yeah, at the same time, you're not seeing everything. There's 200 films at this festival.
Yeah, it's quite a few.
So we'll talk to you guys next time.
Until then, take care.